This Saturday, live on the Zone, Josh Kelly takes on Gabriel Corzo as he hunts down those world title fights. He looked sensational last time out, winning the British Championship against Troy Williamson. This time, though, the Latino champion, Gabriel Corzo, ranked number 8 by the WBO, takes on Josh Kelly, number 2 in the WBO. Got my numbers right. Barry Jones joins us. He's on the commentary this weekend. Barry, what a fight we've got in store. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. But yeah, looking forward to seeing Josh again. Off the back of a tremendous win against Troy Williamson. Let's not forget that was I wouldn't say a 50-50 fight. I thought he was a favourite, but all the momentum was with Williamson. There was still questions to be asked of Josh Kelly, I felt, and didn't he answer? I was lucky to be ringside that night, and he was commentating on the fight. He was phenomenal. Didn't put a foot wrong. Literally, the movement was sublime. Holding his feet to punch with purchase, and then moving away so nothing could come back. And he made a really good fight that looked very, very ordinary.
You took the words out of my mouth. There was questions to be answered. A couple about mental strength going in, a couple about fitness, and being able to carry that momentum that you get in rounds 1, 2, 3, and 4. Are we still going to get them in 9, 10, 11, and 12? He answered those. What does he have to do this Saturday against Gabriel Corzo?
I think it's going to be, you got a guy who's going to be at him, come at him aggressive, but also, let's be honest, I think probably a bit slower hand and foot for really, if Kelly's on form, to worry about. But with that, becomes a little worry that, because he's going to hold his feet more. I think he's going to try and be more aggressive because he won't just want to win here now. He want to win in emphatic fashion. I don't think he want to go to the points. And I think the stoppage might be there for him. Disparaging to say that against a guy who's undefeated, of course, but I just think stylistically, I think he can get the angles right to hit this guy where he doesn't see him coming from. But it's also with that, and you trying to be more aggressive, you can get involved in a war. And then you're using muscles that are unnatural for you to use. And the David Afanasian fight, though a world-class fighter he is, proved that once you get involved in someone else's fight, your tank drains quicker than your opponent's. And then, as we saw there, when you start to get tired, you start to panic, and gaps appear. You make mistakes, and you get caught consistently. So that you can't do that. But he's learned that lesson, and I think he realizes that. So I think we're getting the balance right. I think against Williamson, he got the balance perfect, holding his feet enough to get weight in the shots, but never staying there too long to take anything coming back. And I think he'll take those lessons into this fight with a slightly more aggressive approach. That's how I feel it'll go.
If you look at his fights since that Avanesian fight, Barry, Troy Williamson, obviously we know what happened last time. Very durable fighter, Troy, very aggressive, comes forward and throws a lot. But the fights even before that, Bastida, a fellow Argentinian of Gabriel Corzo, again, very tough, very durable, was there not just to make up the numbers, but really wanted to upset the apple cart. Even before that, the comeback fight after Avanesian, which was Peter Kramer, Eastern European, again, not going to go away easily. Josh has shown that through these fights, he's able to maintain that level. Now, Gabriel Corzo, you look at his record, a lot of wins, not a great deal of knockouts. So he's probably used to going the distance as well. Like you say, if Josh can take advantage of maybe a little bit of a slower guy, someone who's not got loads of power. With Troy Williamson, we always had the fear of, well, there is power there. He could put him down. He could knock him out. With Gabriel Corzo, can Josh afford to be a bit more aggressive?
Yeah, I think, most definitely. I think, but there's just a worry that there was a bit of a fear factor with Williamson. All the other guys he boxed, except for the weight of pressure, that's for every boxer, but for him, not proving that he had a bit of bottle, because I don't know why his bottle was ever questioned, but it seemed to be that you put it on him and he'll fold. I didn't really see it that way, but I just, and also the weight could be a factor as well. You've got a bit more energy. He's moving a bit better. And I think that might be. So it's not always moving up in weight. It's how you make the weight is very important. And I feel that it can be a factor. But yeah, I think he can. I think he should be more aggressive in this fight. If he looked at Corzo like I have and thought, he'll throw a lot of shots. He'll come at me, and if I give him opportunities, though he's not a big puncher, I'm sure there's weight in those shots because he's moving forward behind the shots, and I don't want to get caught in a fight that I'm not comfortable in. But the way he changes direction, when Kelly's on form, I'll be careful I don't get over the top here and blow it out of proportion. But when he's at his best, when he's on form, there's very few fighters in the UK better to watch. I'm not saying he's the best, potentially, but he's beautiful to watch. Like against Williamson, it was an absolute joy. And I'm a fan of Williamson, and he's a nice kid and all the rest of it. And I thought he was a real test for Josh Kelly. I thought, we'll know everything we need to know. But Josh never gave him an opportunity to get in the fight. He made him look so pedestrian, and he's not. And I think against a guy who looks pedestrian against other opponents, even in winning, then I just can't see how Josh doesn't put on a bit of a masterclass. And it'll be beautiful to watch. I said on the night, in the commentary, I said, that was one of the most enjoyable one-sided fights I've seen for a long time. And that's a credit to the winner, because and the loser, because Williamson never gave up for a second, and we know he has that heart and determination. But the way that Josh Kelly controlled that fight, and the way he fought in stage, he had a plan, constant movement early, and as the rounds went on, he started to hold his feet a bit more, hold his ground, and throw less punches but more weight behind them. And then when he didn't feel like he was going, he got back to the plan. I think tactically, technically, and everything, that fight was a perfect display. So, and it was a joy to watch. So more of that. And listen, he's a sellable commodity, let's be honest. He looks the part, he talks well, he boxes sublime. There's not much you can't like about him. And I think, he's back on track now, and I think there's big nights ahead for him.
Again, you take the words out. You do my job for me, but it's almost like you've done this before. But yeah, I mean, listen, I spoke to Troy both on and off air since then, and he said the same thing consistently. I just couldn't hit him. I was trying everything. I just couldn't. We've seen the clips on social media, and that moves me on, like you say there, to the idea of very sellable, people buying into Josh, because the idea is now that he's followed the narrative. He's won the British. He's come back from that down. He's won the British title. He's now going against a global opponent who's the Latino champion in Gabriel Corzo. Clearly no pushover, world ranked by the body. So he's up there at that level. The social media numbers show that people are buying into Josh Kelly. They want to see more of Josh Kelly. He's massive support up here in the Northeast. So he's sort of ticking all those boxes. It leads you on to the next question. If he wins this fight on Saturday, it's world titles next, isn't it?
It is. You would think, or we don't know what's going on with Jamel Charlo. I always got Jamel Charlo being the unified champion at that weight, but him fighting Canelo might mean those belts are going to fragment, which means he's in the perfect spot there to get a vacant title. I'm not sure who's the number one above him. Sorry, though I should have done my research on that. But it's a hard weight, though. I would say that there's not learn from the past, not mistakes, but past circumstances where maybe Avanesian was maybe just a little step too far. I didn't see it at the time. I thought it was the right step. But, jumping from where you are to the very, very best can be a culture shock. He's good enough. I'm not saying you will. And given the opportunity to fight for a world title, I would say, yes, go for it straight away. Because on his day, he's very difficult to beat. But there's domestic fights around there for him, financially, around his weight. And if women's boxing shows anything, losing a few pounds or put on a few pounds can put a few pounds in your pocket. So it's I think he's primed at the right time now and the right place. If he can get close to welter or stay at super welter, where there's some profitable fights for him.
You look at those domestic fights. They were mentioned at press conferences and interviews yesterday. There's a lot of talk around. Is Conor Benn going to be back on the scene soon? I even heard Chris Eubank Jr.'s name mentioned, Liam Smith, Kell Brook is back in that conversation. I mean, these fights we go back to this idea of narrative and selling Josh Kelly being sold as a fighter and as a personality. Those are fights that would absolutely grip the sporting nation in this country now.
Yeah, and he goes in the B side. Now people go mad when even the A side and B side is not always the best fighter, of course, but to the people watching, the B side is the A side is the guy who brings in, who's the more of the commodity financially. That's of course. So if he boxes Kell Brook, Kell Brook's the bigger name. He's the A side, but because Josh is good to watch and he has got a following and people are getting on board with him and he's potentially a superstar in the making still, I would say that. Everyone goes mad when you lose a fight, the wheels come off. It's not always the case. That's a winnable fight for Josh Kelly. He would take over that mantle. That doesn't always work. So you don't always, when you beat the guy, you don't become the guy. When you beat the most popular guy or the bigger name, you don't always become the bigger name. But he will. If he boxes Ian Smith, which is a really difficult fight, if he was someone to get the win there, he takes all of his drawing power and he moves on with that. And the same with Kell Brook, he would move on. Even Kell and the time frames of their career now, that's a good fight for Josh Kell. I would take that in a heartbeat, and I really would. And if Conor Benn was moving up, and can fight whatever in the world that would be on planet Mars or something, then get that fight on as well. Take the fight with the money, but it's what he wants. So we all talk about big money fights, but if he gets a chance for a world title, which might be imminent now, with those, you presume those belts are going to get fragmented once Jamel boxes Canelo in September. How can you not? That's a dream for us all. And with his markability factor, he's always going to win big money. He wins that world title, then he's going to win bigger money, and then he might very well be the A side in all of these conversations that I just talked about. So I would take the world title shot first if it came, but it depends who it is. Then you've got Tim Tszyu at that weight as well. What a remarkable fight that is. I mean, you put Tim above him right now because he boxed at that world level. He beat Harrison and other good fighters. So, but he's there or thereabouts, isn't he? And the skill that he has, I'll go on about it all day. The skill level he has is as good as anybody.
Yeah.
There's the things he might lack here, there, and understandably. But I mean, when he's on form, like I've said before, there's very few fighters more enjoyable to watch than Josh Kelly, at his best.
Another name, just one final thing on Josh Kelly. I want to have a look at the rest of the card in a moment, but looking at those names above him in the list at the moment, a certain Danny Garcia is among that list, and I just think, what a fight.
It is a fight, because Danny, career welterweight, of course, or light welter to begin with, but punch, fast hands, dangerous, and he has that. It might not be probably the tail end of his career, but he's fresh enough to cause you plenty of problems. If you're not good, he beats you. He doesn't just beat you; he batters you. It's a great fight. And stylistically, that'd be a good fight because Danny's smart. So the movement that Josh has, he would be able to cut that off at places, and then we'd have to see what Josh is made of. And I think at this stage now, what he's been through in the past, what he's learned, I think that would be a winnable fight for him. It's mad, isn't it? Danny Garcia, and you're saying now that Josh Kelly, could beat him, and I genuinely believe that.
Let's have a look across the rest of the card, Barry, because it's a major one. It's so busy. The card is so busy. I look down the list of fighters. Straight underneath Josh Kelly and Gabriel Corzo is a British title fight that's got all the hallmarks. We always say the British title delivers. It looks like it's going to deliver again. Kays Asfak and Liam Dillon. Storyline through and through. Great fight. Both good fighters. I mean, where do you begin?
Well, stylistically, this is the fight of the night, to be honest. I struggle. I won't be, because Dillon won't give Ash a second's rest. He won't. He'll be on him. He'll be on his chest from round one, throwing loads of punches, and Ashfaq's going to have to really move. And Ashfaq's a really clever boxer, smart. He's come back from a knockout, of course, a stoppage, and so he learned that lesson. But if there's, I know he's come back from that. But the way Dillon fights, he put it on you early, and Dillon's not the biggest of punchers, but he can punch his weight. He won't stop throwing punches. And if you have any question about your fitness, resolve, or any residue from the Davis defeat, then he'll be in trouble, Ash. You tend to think Ash would be the favourite. Ashfaq would be the favourite because technically he's a lot better. But if he can create that space to let his punches go, he's in trouble. So those early rounds, the first 6 rounds, are going to be horrendous for him. Even if he's winning, they're going to be horrendous. But Dillon's got an engine. Let's not forget that. He can go. I've seen him. I watched him recently, actually, 2 days ago. Go 10. I've seen the fight before, but go 10 rounds non-stop with Kamari. Just pressure on him. He's not the most elusive of characters, but to keep him off you is a real task.
And he'll take that. He'll take that little soundbite. He'll take that all day. That you've got to fancy the other guy, because that's him. He's the underdog. He's a scaffolder. He's not supposed to be winning this. And
yeah.
Again, and then he does it again. Do you know, he's that guy. I want to talk about Chloe Watson on the card. A lot of talk about her going for the European title later this year, trained by Ricky Hatton. She's actually missing her father's wedding, would you believe, to come this Saturday. Another really, really high-ranked prospect, someone that can really sort of take this whole scene. Again, she's moving up the levels. It's a first 8-rounder. What have you seen in Chloe, Barry?
Well, she's non-stop, and she's a proper fireball. I would say that, and I think she puts the punches together really well in combinations. The feet are fast in and out. She sometimes rushes her work because she's so aggressively minded that she wants to jump on you. And you can hear Ricky Hatton in the corner, calling her back in the last fight. Don't you get too close, and that, so she has that experience there to help her out. But there's only a few little things with Chloe. I feel a little bit more head movement and not rushing your work, not getting too close to the target, and she's on the brink of world class straight away. I would say that the energy she has for those she's made for 2-minute rounds. The way she the fast feet in and out constantly and throwing lots of punches, where you can't afford to waste around with those 2-minute rounds. Once you win the first 40 seconds, the other fighter has to fire back, and then they have to take the reins off you. She dictates the pace from the offset, and that's a good trait for 2-minute rounds. To get judgment of the distance, when she gets that right, then the step up is inevitable.
Franklin Ignatius and Stephen Roberts. Heavyweights. We've got all of them. They're both saying that they're going to do this. He's calling him a plank of wood. He's saying, well, this plank of wood's going to knock you out. They're both at the stage for very different reasons, I think, where a good statement win on a big platform like the Zone does wonders for their career.
It does, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I think it does, yeah. I think, Ignatius is the better boxer for me. You have to say that, of course. And Steve Robinson is upright and can be hit, and he's hittable, but he's busy. He likes to throw a lot of punches, and he has power. As I've seen against Campbell, if he catches you on the top of the head, anywhere from the neck up, you're going to be in trouble. But I do fancy. I got to be careful because I'm commentating on the fight, so I don't no bias here. But I do fancy Ignatius because he has a lovely jab. As he showed against Stewart in the last fight, in the rematch, when he rightfully got the win, and it was a clear win, by the way. He'd been against a busier fight against Robinson, and a guy who's going to throw more punches, obviously. But he dips low, throws high with the jab, and he has a long reach for a short guy for the weight, and that's a problem to defend against that. Those punches coming up, and if he does that jab and doubles that jab in, I think he'll back Robinson up. And again, Ignatius doesn't look like the biggest of punches on paper, but at that weight division, do you have to really have big punches to knock somebody out? I don't really know. But you have to be careful. You have to be careful because if he gets clipped by Robinson, he might be miles ahead. And if he gets half a clip of a left hook or a long right hand, then he could be in trouble. But I do think Ignatius the angles he comes in offensively, will have enough to get over the line. And I think it'll go late, if not points.
Final one from me, Barry, is Cody Smith. The young prospect. It's his second fight. Last time he looked sensational. Although he was telling me straight up, he's one of these Yorkshire lads, proper Yorkshire lad, doesn't hold anything back. First big time interview with the Zone downstairs the other day, and he's telling me about his irritable bowel syndrome. That was the reason that he didn't look as good as he thought he could have done, despite looking sensational at York Hall. He's got the bravado and the mindset and the personality. He sits down and he says, I want to be Yorkshire's next world champion. I want to fight at Oakwell, Barnsley football ground. Look, Josh Warrington and those guys, they're good. They've done all this. But I'm going to go up a level. I'm Yorkshire's Mayweather. I'm Yorkshire's Canelo and Conor McGregor. He sits down at the press conference with his sunglasses on, brazenly says, I'm the best looking man in the room. This guy, listen, that's why we watch boxing, isn't it? That's one of the reasons that you watch it, for character like that.
Yeah, of course. But I don't really take any notice of all that, but I understand I shouldn't say that. That's a selling point. And in this generation now, you have to have more than just ability. And he's realised that, and he's trying to get himself out there, and you admire him for that. But let's just talk about his boxing ability. I did his debut, and I thought he was brilliant. The control for a young man. See, that people forget about your debut. It's a daunting task because you want to show everyone what you can do. So what happens usually, you rush your work because you want to show everyone so much what you can do that you do it too fast, and you end up spoiling your stuff. But he was focus, control, beautiful jab, dictated the pace with it, didn't waste a shot, by the way. I'm trying to think now. I should watch it back. I'm trying to think if he did throw a punch that didn't land. If he did, I probably missed it because he was just, the economy rate was fantastic. He didn't waste anything, and the composure for a young man in your first fight was tremendous. I think if I remember right, I think the commentary I was singing his praises from the rooftop. I thought he was just excellent, and yeah, one of the ones I'm really looking forward to. And if he has that personality to go with the ability, then you're talking maybe about a potential superstar.
He says pound for pound, he's the hardest hitting featherweight in the world. Well, there's some competition up there, but
in the UK there's some competition actually, but let alone internationally.
Well, yeah, he's got to believe in himself. Listen, Barry, I know you've got to make the journey up to Newcastle, so I'm going to let you get on the road. Listen, it's been a pleasure. Saturday night, it's going off. Josh Kelly topping a huge bill. We can't wait for it.